Star Wars has sucked for a very long time now, and I don't see it getting any better. And even when they're bringing fan favorite characters back, the writers and directors have failed to create good products, thinking, oh my god, people will eat this up because of nostalgia. And now that Ahsoka's out, it seems that things are still not going to get any better, since the premiere viewership was very low, and the latest episode gave us some of the worst fight sequences in the franchise's history. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media so you can see when my content is posted, and of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and live streams I create, consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So let's start off with this first article from Bounding Into Comics. It says Ahsoka has abysmal viewership, one of the worst Star Wars Disney Plus premieres since The Mandalorian Season 1. Now, I was cautiously optimistic when it came to Ahsoka, right? Because I love the Clone Wars, I loved Ahsoka in the past, but unfortunately, all of these Star Wars series and just Disney series in totality have been really bad lately. I remember being so excited for Obi-Wan, and then it came out and it was just another dud. It had a couple of really good moments, don't get me wrong, but it was mostly bad. And Book of Boba Fett was a disappointment. Also, The Mandalorian took a turn for the worse and definitely fell off of a cliff, in my opinion. And I just haven't had a lot of hype, but I was really hoping that this would at least be an okay show, but it's not going well for Disney because the premiere viewership numbers are extremely low, and it's actually getting raked across the coals for having one of the dumbest space battles imaginable. But it says Samba TV recently shared their data claiming that only 1.2 million US households tuned into Ahsoka in its first 6 days since release. The data analysis group reported on X the latest new Star Wars series, Ahsoka finally hit screens with 1.2 million US households watching over its first 6 days. This is similar viewership to Andor's premiere season, and slightly lower than The Mandalorian's third season premiere over its first 6 days. Now, Andor really had no hype. There was nobody who was like, I can't wait for Andor to release, and it actually ended up being a decent series. It was not the worst, that's for sure, but it definitely wasn't the best. It wasn't anything to write home about. And Mandalorian, by season 3, unfortunately, for me, it declined in quality. I wasn't the biggest fan. I feel like they've tried to do the same thing over and over and over and haven't really been able to capture the essence of season 1. And season 2 had its good moments as well. But even Mandalorian's third season did better. The Mandalorian Season 3 premiere drew in 1.6 million US households, and of course, shows like Obi-Wan completely blew this out of the park. Obi-Wan was reported that it had been viewed by 2.14 million US households in its first 4 days streaming on Disney+, and you'd think that Ahsoka would do really good because she's such a well-known fan favorite character. You'd think that these numbers would be closer to something like Obi-Wan in comparison to, Andor, character that, again, people don't really have a ton of love and nostalgia for, but unfortunately the quality isn't, it isn't really here. As you can see with this article, Ahsoka Episode 3 already ignores its previous episodes, features one of the dumbest space battles imaginable. It says it shows that Star Wars storytelling is not improving, but is only getting more and more ridiculous and insufferable. It gives a brief explanation of the episode and says, however, what happens next is the most absurd moment in the entire episode. Ahsoka puts on a spacesuit, exits her ship, and stands on the wing with her lightsabers drawn. Her goal is apparently to draw fire, while Sabine attempts to repair the ship. The ploy works, given that's the way Filoni wrote it, but it just turns into a big joke, as there's no way they wouldn't just destroy the ship and then circle back to see if Ahsoka and Sabine survived, and then kill them. It says, nevertheless, this absurd moments turns into Ahsoka destroying the other droid-piloted ship with her lightsabers as it flies right into the next ship. I do not know what they were thinking with this, because, right, it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, it's like she has complete plot armor here, and oh, hey, I'm just gonna do this crazy thing, but you know I'm gonna survive because it's my show. It's a show about me. I do not like this mindless writing. Of course, when you are working with Star Wars, you're going to inevitably have moments that don't make sense, or that things could have happened in a much different way and in a much worse way for the main characters, but this one just made absolutely no sense in any way, shape, or form. But of course, this is one of the main things that's been criticized, but it's not one of the only things that has been criticized, and people are already accusing Disney of damage controlling. Analyst declares the Walt Disney Company media spin machine is in full force after the company claimed Ahsoka brought in 14 million views globally for the first episode. So keep in mind that 1.2 million was only US households, but I do not see a way that it went from 1.2 million households to 14 million views globally. I don't see it being that drastic of a difference. I mean, maybe it's true, but of course Disney's not going to provide us with that information. They could say anything they want. They could say we had 100 million viewers watching, and there's really no way that they're going to prove it, or that we would be able to find that out. It says the official StarWars.com website announced in a blog post Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company are thrilled and humbled to announce that Part 1 of Ahsoka, Master and Apprentice was the most watched title on Disney Plus this past week. The debut episode garnered 14 million views, making the series #1 globally on the streaming platform. Ahsoka has become a fan favorite with people of all ages, and it's wonderful to see her continue to resonate with viewers with her very own headlining series. Hey, again, I wanted this to be good. I think Rosario Dawson's a good actress. I love the Ahsoka character. There's lots of nostalgia here, at least for me personally, after watching Clone Wars and Rebels for years, but I just did not really get all that hyped for this, and now that the first few episodes are out, there's really nothing here that strikes me as, wow, this is a turn for Lucasfilm. They're actually putting in more effort. It's just not that to me. They definitely try to bank on nostalgia with a lot of the shots that they show. There's a lot of shots in this that are very similar to Clone Wars, with like Ahsoka standing on her own in the same place Anakin stood on his own, or it's supposed to mimic that, moments where they were standing somewhere together, they're no longer there. Lots of also similar areas, and of course ultimately sets to the original trilogy. So there is a lot here that they tried, but they still were not able to ultimately capture that magic. Again, the writers, directors, producers that they're putting on these shows are just not good enough. They get halfway there, but then they're not able to completely paint the picture for people. They're not able to completely capture our attention in the essence of what makes Star Wars so special. As the show continues on, I'll definitely be keeping my eye on what, people are saying about it. Right now, people are absolutely destroying this ridiculous space battle, and I completely understand why. And, it seems like Disney is in full spin mode. The PR machine is definitely working overtime for Ahsoka. They want it to seem like it's doing amazing for them, like it's drawn in these massive numbers for them while providing us with no evidence whatsoever. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.